Hi everybody, welcome to Granny J Clay on Friday. It's nice to have you. It's a beautiful day here in Kansas. It's going to be in the 80s, I believe. And we are expecting company this evening for the weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. We have a shell necklace that we're going to make today, at least the shell part. And I had promised that we would do that, but let me just show you something before we get started. I was over at the Dollar Tree store and I found something that maybe that would be useful to you too, but it was very useful, I think, for what I'm doing as far as necklaces and so forth. Let me just grab this and show you what I'm talking about. La da da! Look at all of those. Isn't that cool? You could use any of those for a necklace and so forth. Let me show you where it came from. It came from a $1 rag rug, like this. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? All I did was snip the end threads, and then I began to pull each of the pieces of rag out, and that's what I got. And I can see right now that some of them are a little bit maybe shorter than others, but I think I'll be able to use some of those for necklaces. For $1, I figured it's worth a try. So I wanted to show you that. Isn't that pretty? These are different colors than the other ones that I just showed you. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that before we got going here. And let me just also have you take a peek at what we're going to be using today. Oh, and if you hear a fan in the background, it's because I do this in an upstairs room and it's warm in Kansas when it's 80, and so I'm running a little fan in the background, and I hope that it's not going to distract you, but let's see. I'm going to try to show you what I'm doing right away. All right, this is what we're going to use. We're going to use a piece of Primo clay, and that's right over here. It's white. So I cut that off already, and I conditioned it already, and I got the piece ready. It's about, oh, let's see here, 3 by 3. It could be bigger, it could be smaller, whatever you wanted to do. And then we're going to use Perfect Pearls, and you could use Pearl X if you have colors that you want to use too, and the colors are up to you. I like to use the cappuccino to bring in that little bit of a brown look here. This is the one I bought at Michael's. I cleaned it before I used it as a mold. I cleaned it with alcohol. And then also you're going to need a brush to put Perfect Pearls on, and I use a straw to put a hole in the top. Unless you have a small cutter, round cutter, you can use that as well. And then I'm going to use a little bit of the cornstarch on the Primo, so when I put it on the shell, it won't stick when I take it off again. And then the light bulb over here, this is so that I can place the shell on the light bulb and get a nice form to it. This one is nicely formed, as you can see. Maybe that ball is in the way, or the bead is in the way. But it has a nice rounded shape, and I have had it on and it fits really nice. It just sits really nice up against your chest. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this part. We're not going to do the rest of it, but you can certainly see. I think I showed that in the last video that that's what we were going to make. Now let me just put all of this aside a little bit so we can get ready to start doing this. And put the clay aside. Hope you're having a good day today. Maybe you're having company come too. I don't know. But if you are, have a good time. I've been cleaning the last 2 days. I would imagine maybe you do some of that too when you have company. All right, I'm going to take a little bit of the cornstarch, and I use it as a release so it won't, oops, so it won't, I try to limit it, but sometimes I get too much on there. So it won't stick. You could use water or whatever, but I'm just going to do a very thin layer of cornstarch over it. And then I'll pick that up, and I'll use my handy dandy wet wipes to get that scooped up before we continue. All right. And then of course I always have my rag available to me. And then I wipe it so it's dry. And I'm going to get rid of the cornstarch so I don't spill it, because that's always a possibility. All right, now let me bring this in. As I said, I conditioned the clay already. It's just white, Primo. If you wanted to use pearl, you could. You could do whatever you wanted to do, I guess. Now, I'm going to lay this down closer toward the top. I don't want a great big shell, so I don't want to be down here, but I'm going to lay it down kind of closer to the top, and then what I'm going to do is just press, 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 and it doesn't take much to just press it. And then I'm going to actually take the end of my paintbrush that I'm going to use to put the perfect pearls on, and I'm going to press it in a little bit like that. And you might want to use something else, whatever you want to use that works for you, that's great. All right, press it, and it, you know, this just doesn't have to be perfect. Seashells are not perfect. I just want you to remember that. Now I'm going to turn it around, and yes, I got a print, and I've got some texture going on there. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay it down. I'll lay it down this way and get rid of my shell for right now. And as we know, the shell is going to be rounded here, so I'm going to grab a cookie cutter that I have. These are my Fat Daddy-O's, and I know you've seen them before. And I'm just going to lay it down right here and decide, let's see, how big do I want my shell? Maybe about right there, and I'm going to press, and there I have it. Okay, now we'll put these away. If you haven't gotten these Fat Daddy-O cutters that are seamless, I just want you to know I use the round ones more than I use the other size or the other shapes that I've got, but they are so nice. They're a little more expensive, but they're sure worth the money. All right, put that away now. And because I'll take my blade and clean this off a little bit so I don't have a big mess going on there. All right. Now what I want to do is shape it a little bit. And so, let's see, maybe I should bring it back in so you can see what I'm doing. As you see, the shell goes in toward the top, and you have sort of a little peak at the top of your shell. That's what I'm going for. All right. It won't be perfect, but it'll be good. Go like that. Okay. And then I'm going to come over on the other side and do about the same thing. About like that. And pick it up, look at it a little bit, and see if that's where I want it. I'm going to put the hole in now with my straw. Decide where I want to put it. Press the straw in and just turn it. And we got that ready. Get this other clay out of the way so I don't get Pearl X powder on it. Pearl X powder gets all over the place, and I've said this before too, but you might want to wear a mask when you are working with the Pearl X. Now what I want to do is something similar to what I did with this one. I'm going to lift it up. Once I put the Pearl X on it, I'm going to try to flute these edges a little bit so it looks more like a shell. But I want to bring brown in this area and brown in this area because that's what it looked like on that other shell that I showed you. Do you see? Had a little brown here, a little brown here. But you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect, and you can do whatever you want to do. Do whatever you want to do. So I am going to just start putting on, oops, better grab the right tool here. I'm going to put the cappuccino on. And I'm just going to start over here and kind of draw a line like that. And it's quite thick. There we go. It's quite thick as far as how much Pearl X I'm putting on. And then I'm going to make one up a little bit higher, kind of in this area. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a larger brush and I'm going to go to the garbage can. I'm going to brush it off. And that's going to keep this area fairly dark, but it's going to spread the brown around too, so that you get a little bit more brown on the shell. So I'm just going to brush, brush, brush. I'm doing this, just brush, brush, brush over the garbage can. And you'll see what I mean when I bring it back. Okay, let me show you that and get this out of the way. So now we're starting to see a little bit of the shell form come out. Okay? There we go. Do the edges a little bit. Like that. Just get a little bit on the edges. Now, shells are different. They're not necessarily all one color. What I'm going to do is take that off of there. Clean up my workspace a little bit. When I say I just kind of spilled the brown Pearl X over here a little bit. You know, this is just, usually I would, and maybe I will do that, I'll just grab a paper towel and see if that is helpful, again, to put under here. I want to make sure you can see it. Okay, you can see that. And I'm going to set the brown aside, put the lid on. You just never know when you're going to accidentally spill one of these, and you don't want to do that. Ugh, have powder everywhere. All right, the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little bit of green to my shell, because I don't think shells are just all one color. Obviously they're not. And I'm going to take the same brush I had for the brown. I'm just going to add a little green here and there. And then once I get that on, I'm going to also do what I did with the brown. I'm going to take it over to the garbage can and I'm going to take a little bit off of it. So it's really minute. It ends up being very little what you see. But I like to add a little green, a little blue, and then the pearl color as well. All right, let's see what that looks like once I take it over the garbage can again. And I'm just going to kind of, what it does, it takes a lot of the powder off, but it brings in some of the green shine. I'm not sure you can see. Hopefully you can see that. Now I'm going to put the lid on the green, use the same paper towel, set the green aside, bring my interference blue in, and I'm going to add some blue. So we're going to just do that. It's really random. How I add it is random. Just like if a shell was in the sea, it would have a kind of random look of color on it. And I'm going to do the same with this. Once I have the blue on, I'll take it over the garbage can and brush it off. Let me just show you what that looks like. Now I'm going to take it and brush it off into the garbage. Brush, 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 brush. Bring it back so you can see it's got some blue to it. Now I'll put the lid on the blue. And again, these are perfect pearls, not Pearl X. I just got an order in of some beautiful Pearl X powders. And I'm going to use those pretty soon too. Not today, but in one of my videos. All right, now I'm going to also add the perfect pearl color. And I got to turn it up this way. This, for some reason, this has the label on the top. This one, for some reason, has it on the bottom. I don't know why. So I have to turn it over. And then I'll open this one. And I have very, very little left in this one. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to add some of the pearl here and there. That's going to make it shiny as well. And I'm going to run that along the edges. Okay. Okay, you can see some of the pearl color. Once again, over to the garbage can, brush, 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 brush a little bit. Okay, bringing it back, showing it to you. Okay, and I'm going to lay it down. I'm going to take the perfect pearls and put the lid on and get rid of that. I'm going to shake out my brush a little bit. And I'm going to get rid of this so we don't get that all over us. Wipe my fingers off a little bit. This is where we put it on the light bulb now. And you're going to notice it take a little bit different shape. But before I put it on there, there is a natural little rise on the shell. Can you see it? Like there's one right there, there, and there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it down and I'm going to stick my paintbrush under it and just kind of go like that. And just bringing it up a little bit. Probably have to go back and reshape it a little bit as you go. By the way, I rolled this out on my thickest setting, which for me on my Atlas 180 is 0. So this is the thickest setting. All right, so I've got that puffed up a little bit. Maybe even try that one right there a little bit. Yeah, maybe another one on this end. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this up onto my light bulb. I made this, if you didn't watch the other video, I made this years ago. I saw it on YouTube somewhere that you could form things on a light bulb and they would be fine in the oven, and it is. I've used it several times since then. Now what I'm going to do, excuse me, is I'm going to grab a piece of wax paper and I'm going to just come around the sides and I'm going to flatten it a little bit. You see how I'm doing that? Okay, let's just do this. Flatten it to the light bulb a little bit. Okay. Because when you're done, you do want this to come out like this a little bit. You see what I'm saying? It sticks out. And my other one, when I baked it that way, came off really nicely. Okay? And that way, when it lays on your chest, it buckles out a little bit because it's not flat. This has a little bit more brown to it than this one will, but every shell is different, right? Okay. Just checking the sides a little bit more here and seeing if I want this a little bit flatter. If I want it a little bit flatter, then I'm just going to bring this in like that, push it down a little bit toward the light bulb. Okay. All right. And that is my shell. Once it's baked, and I will bake this, since it's primo, I will bake this at 275 for a full hour. For a full hour. And then I let it sit on the light bulb until it's cool, and then I just pop it off. Okay, let me just bring it up a little bit to show you. And then it's your choice as to what you want to do with it. Now, if you wanted to, you could take this shell that I bought. You can buy smaller ones. And this one was, I think, it was a little expensive. It was like $7 or $8, and I thought that was a lot for a shell, but I wanted it to use as a mold. But you could make things even shorter up here and make smaller shells to go along with this shell if you wanted to. There's just a number of things you can do. Now, what I'm not going to do today is show you how to put the inside or the flip side of the shell in. This is a piece of Primo. Once this shell is done, it's baked, it's hardened and cooled, then I take another piece of the Primo white clay, excuse me, and I press it. First of all, I used a piece of burlap actually and ran it through my pasta maker to make an imprint. I'm going to show you. You see that? And to me, that just looks like a real shell background for some reason. But I press it in there, and then I run my X-Acto blade, you know, like this, along the side, because I don't cut it exact when I press it into the shell. I run along the side and I just trim it off like that all the way around, and then once I've trimmed it, I take the burlap and lay it on top, and I continue to form it and place it in so I get what I want. And then of course I've put my initials on it as well. And then I rebake it. I just lay it down like this, and I rebake it on an index card like this. Let me grab one. I've got a pile of index cards over here. You just bake it on an index card like this, on a tile, on a white piece of, or a white tile. Let me grab that. Well, I can't get it out right now. But anyway, on a tile, I've shown you those before, and you stick it in the oven, and you just let that bake for another hour at 275. And when it comes out, it looks just like this. I happen to add just a little bit of the green and the pearl color on the back. You don't have to, or you could add brown too if you wanted to. But I added the pearl color on that. So that is how to make your shell. They are fun to make, and they look so realistic. At least I think they do. And I hope as you make yours that you will share that with us so we can see what you've made. We would love to see the things that you make. Love that. I want to also just take a minute right now. Let me bring it back up here. I'm a little bit blown away. I have over 100 subscribers now, and I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing to this channel. I didn't have a number in mind. I still don't have a number in mind, but I just feel so blessed that you are hopefully learning from this, and you are doing your own clay and you're finding it helpful. So just thank you. I wanted to thank each and every one of you for watching, for liking, you know, doing a thumbs up down below. God bless you for that. I am not sponsored by anybody. As far as I know, I don't ever plan to be. But I just wanted to make videos, be helpful to those of you that wanted to play with clay. And that was all that my heart really wanted. So thank you. All right, that's all. That's all for today. Have a wonderful Memorial weekend, and we will see you back here. Well, actually, I plan to do a Granny J clay on Monday. But it's going to be Granny J say. Okay? Not clay, a Granny J say. So if you're interested in those, if you've watched the other ones, just be aware that that's going to come out on Monday. And then I will see you next Friday for another clay video. Okay? Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.